The spectrum of reality, a journey from physical perception to integrated consciousness. Chapter 1. Perception beyond the physical, redefining mediumship. Human experience is commonly anchored in 5 gateways to the world: sight, hearing, touch, taste, and smell. These are the pillars upon which we build our consensual reality. However, ancient traditions and persistent accounts throughout history suggest that this is not the limit of our perceptive capacity. Phenomena such as mediumship propose the existence of a broader sensitivity, a faculty that transcends the barriers of the physical body. From this perspective, mediumship ceases to be a supernatural gift or an anomaly and reveals itself as an innate faculty of the soul. It is a latent, sixth sense, the ability to tune into frequencies of reality that vibrate beyond the material spectrum. It functions as a natural extension of consciousness, allowing interaction with dimensions, energies, and information that, although invisible to the eyes, coexist with us. It is proof that reality can be much vaster than our physical senses allow us to grasp. Chapter 2. The Veil of Culture. Why don't we perceive the whole? If broader perception is a human potentiality, why does it remain a controversial topic and, for many, inaccessible? The answer lies in the powerful cultural and educational conditioning to which we are subjected. From birth, we are immersed in a predominantly materialistic paradigm where the maxim "seeing is believing" becomes the sole criterion for validating truth. In this system, intuition, premonitions, and subtle childhood perceptions are systematically discouraged, often labeled as fantasy or fertile imagination. The result is a collective unlearning. Perceptive faculties not validated by the outside world resemble muscles that atrophy from lack of use. We stop exercising our innate sensitivity and, as a consequence, become skeptical and confused in the face of any phenomenon that escapes the limited map we were given. The confusion does not arise from the complexity of the phenomenon, but from the incompleteness of our own instruction manual about reality. Chapter 3. Present reality, the integration of all dimensions. What then is reality? Perhaps what we call reality is just a single station tuned on a radio with infinite frequencies. Present reality, in its purest and most complete expression, would be the integration of all possible perceptions, physical and extra-physical, into a single, coherent panorama. Just as our eyes see only the tiny band of visible light within the vast electromagnetic spectrum, our 5 senses capture only the material dimension of existence. Expanding perception, therefore, is not an escape from reality. On the contrary, it is a deeper dive into it. It is the act of adding the invisible bands, the spiritual world, energy fields, the dimension of thoughts to our understanding. These dimensions are not somewhere else, but here and now, interpenetrating and influencing our physical world at every moment. The true journey is learning to tune the radio of consciousness to capture the universe's complete symphony. Chapter 4. The Thin Line between sanity and disconnection. If it is possible to perceive stimuli beyond general consensus, where do we draw the line between an authentic psychic experience and a mental disorder? The distinction, although delicate, is crucial and lies in a single word: grounding. Expanded perception, when balanced, occurs with feet firmly on the ground. The individual, even while receiving information from the subtle world, remains anchored in physical reality. They know who they are, where they are, and can contextualize their perceptions, differentiating a spiritual stimulus from a material one. Their functionality in daily life is not only maintained, but can be enriched. Psychotic disorder, on the other hand, is disconnection. It is the loss of this grounding. The person is swallowed by their perceptions, which chaotically merge with the outside world, rendering them unable to function. The experience overwhelms and disintegrates them. The challenge of psychic development is not simply to perceive more, but to learn to navigate and integrate what is perceived, being the captain of one's own ship and not a castaway in an ocean of stimuli. Chapter 5. The Organs of the Soul. The chakras as centers of perception. If expanded perception does not depend on physical organs, what are its mechanisms? Many wisdom traditions point to the chakras, described as energy vortices in the subtle body that function as the true organs of perception of the soul. Each operates as a tuner for a specific frequency of reality. The frontal chakra, or third eye, is the center of clairvoyance, intuition, and inner vision. The throat chakra is the portal of clairaudience, the ability to hear beyond physical sound. The heart chakra functions as a powerful empathic radar, sensing the emotions of other beings in the environment. The solar plexus chakra in the stomach is our instinctive sensor, responsible for perceiving the rawest and most immediate energies. Together, these and other centers form a sophisticated system of subtle perception. The development of consciousness invariably passes through the harmonization and education of these centers of power. Chapter 6: The Artist's Pendulum, Between Genius and Self-Destruction. The dynamics of expanded perception are dramatically illustrated in the archetype of the tormented genius, personified in figures such as Timaea and Raoul Seixas. Their lives and works reveal a powerful oscillation between two extreme poles: the pole of full perception, an almost divine connection with the universal creative flow. Their psychic antennas, higher chakras, were wide open, channeling musical and lyrical genius from a source that seemed beyond this world. The pole of material sensation, a desperate search for excesses, food, drugs, alcohol. This immersion in the material world functioned as a forced grounding, an attempt to anesthetize overwhelming sensitivity and silence the bombardment of perceptions coming from above. They lived in a tragic pendulum, oscillating between the sublime and the visceral, for they lacked the point of balance. The immortal work they left is the testimony of this internal battle, the legacy of a soul that felt too much but did not possess the bridge to unite heaven and earth within itself. Chapter 7: The Middle Path, The Conscious Search for Balance. If uncontrolled oscillation leads to self-destruction, what is the path to mastery? It is what wisdom traditions call the middle path, a journey not of denial but of conscious integration. This path rests on three pillars: healthy grounding. Instead of escape into excess, one actively seeks rooting. Practices such as contact with nature, physical exercise, and mindfulness strengthen the foundation of being, creating a stable system capable of receiving spiritual energy without disintegrating. Education of sensitivity. Expanded perception is a tool that must be mastered. Through meditation, study, and self-observation, one learns to tune in and tune out psychic channels, to discern the origin of information and give it proper context. Sensitivity ceases to be chaotic and becomes a compass. Centrality of the heart. The true point of balance lies in the heart chakra. It is the alchemical center that harmonizes the energies of spirit and matter. Cultivating compassion, gratitude, and unconditional love strengthens this center, allowing the individual to live with their head in the stars and feet firmly planted on the ground. This is the path of the artist's master, the practical mystic, the integral human being. It is the journey to become a conscious channel, a translator of worlds, transforming expanded perception from a curse into a blessing for oneself and for the world. Chapter 8: The Map of the Soul. Jung's individuation as a key to understanding. The journey described so far, from the chaos of uncontrolled perception to the search for the middle path, is not just an abstract spiritual concept. It was precisely mapped by the depth psychology of Carl Gustav Jung. What he called the process of individuation is the clinical and psychological description of this same journey toward wholeness. Jung offers us the key to translate the challenges we observe. The dive into excess is the encounter with the shadow. The Artist's Self-Destructive Plunge, Chapter 6, is a possession by the shadow, the part of ourselves we repress. Healthy Grounding, Chapter 7, is therefore the conscious act of confronting and integrating the shadow, recognizing its strength and vitality instead of being dominated by it. Uncontrolled Perception is possession by the anima animus. The chaotic sensitivity bordering on madness, Chapter 4 and 6, is, in Jungian terms, being dominated by the archetype of the opposite sex living within us, the anima in men, the animus in women. Education of Sensitivity, Chapter 7, corresponds to the work of establishing a conscious dialogue with this inner figure, transforming it from an overwhelming force into a bridge to creativity and the soul. The point of balance is the ego-self axis. The middle path and the centrality of the heart, Chapter 7, find their perfect equivalent in the creation of the ego-self axis. The ego, our conscious center, learns to cease being the tyrant of the psyche to become the servant of the self, the center of totality, our inner God. It is this axis that stabilizes the pendulum, allowing the individual to be a channel for the sublime without disconnecting from the earth.